Welcome back, Splatter fans, to another night of high-octane matchups all across Murder Ball as opening month games come to a close. We here at 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio have found ourselves posted up in the newly renovated Glacial Marauders Arena. And let me tell you, if this is how the Upper Hive lives, I could get used to it. The air is cool and clean, the furniture is uniform and stately, and none of the cushions have tried to bite me yet. So, win.
The cushions match, too.
They do match.
I think that's why they haven't tried to bite you yet.
Ah, interesting. So they're all one tribe.
Yeah.
They're not as angry.
They're organized.
Wait, that could be bad.
Only one way to find out.
That's true. Nice couch cushions now.
As always, I am your friendly neighborhood Goblin King, and I am joined today by my hell-raising puzzle specialist, Marky.
I wouldn't say that. Hi.
Take your compliments, you whore.
Always wonderful 13th machete juggler, Kevin. No wonder you have so few fingers.
I mean, I've only got 2 hands and 13 machetes.
That's true. That is true.
That is a math problem.
That's a lot of...
If I have 13 machetes and 2 hands,
I only have 2 hands, 13 machetes, and 1 asshole. So do the math.
if I have 13 machetes and 10 fingers and 7 toes, how many lawsuits do I have?
How many ocean violations do I have?
Objection, Martha Stewart.
And today we are joined by a leather crafting chainsaw enthusiast, our special guest, Ickbard.
I just love the way it revs in my hand.
So tell us, what was the hardest part of your trip? The screaming co-eds in the corpse cornfields, or was it the actual commute down 30 to 40 sublevels?
It's a trick question. It was the underwater dungeon. That puzzle was a bitch.
You rich mother...
Water.
30 levels.
What's water?
It's something you're too poor to.
Hey, our gracious hosts, the Glacial Marauders, have been providing this clear stuff. I think it's supposed to be grain alcohol, but it's not fucking me up, and it doesn't really have a taste.
Doesn't have a smell either.
It doesn't.
It kind of reminds me of the stuff that drips off the pipes that we drink when we get really,
Yeah, but it's a lot cleaner, and it doesn't zing. Zang, tang?
Zing, zang, tang?
Zing, zang, tang.
It doesn't give me visions either.
They told me it was lube.
Well, we can test it out later.
Thick glacier water?
Yeah, extremely.
I'm not a fan
with 2
of
C's.
that thick.
I got to tell you, man, these upper hivers, they got it going. This is the cleanest damn pipe,
whatever it is,
residual pipe runoff I've ever drank.
I was told this was going to be thick water. I demand a refund.
Oh, we can dig it up for you in the back. Wait, no one can see us. We can dig it up for you right now.
I'll get the singles.
So, Ickbard came down for an episode, came down to stream with us, play the Army Reveal stream. So, touch base on that really quickly. For those of you that don't know, Ickbard is part of our community over on Discord.
They only talk about me every other episode.
Yes. He is also a commissioned painter, and the big secret reveal, if you guys watched the stream a couple of weeks ago, or if you are following us on the various social media accounts, you will have seen this, is I commissioned Ick to do a Necron Army, my Necron Army for me. So what was that like? How is it being in the mind of a commissioned painter?
There's a decent amount of confidence. You kind of have to say, yes, I am worth this amount of money. Yes, I am good enough to get this. And there's a certain level of confidence that could be confused with the hubris. But if you can back it up, I don't think anyone really cares at the end of the day. The main thing is setting up your own goals and achieving them, which sounds like the most vague bullshit motivational speaker thing there. But honestly, it is one of the true things. You have your goal, you have your limit, you have your buffer. And honestly, a constant communication is the best part of there. Because you could have some of the worst stuff for there, but if you have a constant rapport, give an update on what's going on, you can have that extra leeway if you're unlike if you're radio silent for 2 months and then
Right.
everything falls apart.
Well, I'm going to say in our particular exchange, you had a major injury, like within a couple of days of starting.
Much like Abaddon's arms, one of mine popped out twice. And
You motherfuckers! I swear to God, this disrespect.
I had a more explicitly, I had a subluxation, which is a partial dislocation. Then 2 days later, I had a full dislocation of my arm.
Is this a sex thing?
It could be.
Well, I already pulled out the lipstick. I can't make that joke twice now.
Oh.
Worst part was it wasn't recorded, so no one's gonna have a fucking clue. It's gonna be great.
That's okay.
It's true. That's
Doesn't
true.
have the same punch.
It's just like I put on the skirt, I shave my legs, I get no fucking respect.
This is shaved.
Listen, there's
It's
5
a
o'clock.
5 o'clock
There's a
shadow.
5 o'clock shadow for the legs. There's a 5 o'clock shadow. There's a 7 o'clock forest. Okay.
There you go. There you go. I like it.
And what happens after midnight?
Well, you don't feed it. You don't get wet.
Don't get away.
Don't
yeah.
put it. Yeah. And,
Or it gets the hose again.
Okay, but what if you're on an airplane when midnight comes?
if you're on an airplane when midnight comes, I don't know. Would I look like a
They
fucking
don't feed you after
cosmetologist?
midnight on an airplane, so you're safe.
Yeah. That
Oh no, you've never seen that. So the whole breakdown of why gremlins wouldn't actually work. So they go into a bunch of stuff. They're like, well, what if
Time zone.
what if you're in a different time zone?
Well,
What if you're on an airplane when midnight happens? What if the gremlins
What if it's
sweat? Or what
leap
if,
year?
what if the mogwai sweats?
So here's the problem. Ancient Chinese magic, or like assumed some kind of Chinese magic,
That is the setup for the movie. So I think you're good.
is very, very specific and persnickety at the same time. And it definitely follows the intent of the rule. That can also be kind of tricked. Like there's a lot of ancient folklore where it's like a guy will make a deal. He'll then trick them, but a god goes like, yo, that's real. And the guy goes, okay, well, I guess I have to deal with that now. And it's very much that implicit what they intended to be.
So there's an entire level of like the spirit worlds in the not supposed, but in this mythology that we're talking about.
The Eastern Asian.
That's just
kinda.
like, well,
Yeah, yeah.
we'll just say this mythology. We don't have to label it. There's an entire level, like in any of these deals, in anything, because like this runs in a lot. It's spooky
Any
season,
mythology,
so we're
really.
talking about a lot of
It's spiritual,
Yeah,
metaphysical.
it's spiritual,
otherworldly.
metaphysical.
Just give up,
There's an
Mark. It ain't
entire
happening.
entity that just walks around.
It's not gonna happen, Mark.
What are you
There it
trying to
goes.
do?
I don't know. Probably one of my kids.
Band-aids was stuck to his shoe. He's been trying
Let's
to
say
get
he
it
was
with
trying.
his
He was
foot
trying to
or his
prove
foot.
he could touch his toes, but he was cheating while sitting in a chair, so it didn't count.
Oh, gotcha.
No, he was
yeah.
touching
Try
his
not-
toes
try not to
together,
touch
trying
it.
to pull the band-aid off, but it took like 30 tries for him to give
I
up
was
and
just
just
like,
use his
See,
hands.
because I'm
Fuck it.
for the people playing the home game, I'm directly parallel from Ryan, so it's kind of like I got that lock in on there.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like this is all tunnel vision
I
again.
literally was like, "What the fuck are these two doing? Are they
it's like-
making out? I don't
like
understand."
meanwhile we're just like eyeing each other down because if one runs, it's game over.
That solves
true.
that solves it, Ryan. You're the reason. Tom falls asleep.
Because he doesn't make eye contact with me.
No, because he does make eye contact with you.
No, you just got to.
You realize you just called him out on the podcast, right?
We can edit it out.
You're right. I can edit it out.
Can
But
Will
will
I?
and will
can
All right.
should depends on how much he bribes you.
So to bring us back real quick. So as we keep going through spooky season, this sort of stuff like movie logic.
This isn't
essentially
mandatory
is what
fuck
we're
around
talking
time?
about. This is mandatory fuck around time.
slightly structured fuck around.
like a lot slightly structured mandatory podcast fuck around time. But a lot of these movies have these weird rules, right?
Yeah.
So your answer in its implication means that there is an entire bureaucratic level of supernatural entities that just follow people around checking boxes.
Taken to its logical extreme, why the fuck not?
I mean, would that be called? Okay, what would you call it? A rules genie?
I would say these are the same fuckers who can't move in a straight line. Because spirits, that's why they had the Great Wall of China move around a bunch. Like, because the Great Wall of China wasn't just China at the time; it was just like everywhere. Like,
Oh yeah.
because there was a lot
It's also really like if you look at it, it's anyway.
there's a lot of very strict rules. Like I'm not a master at it, but I remember reading a lot about this when I was younger. There's a lot of very strict exact rules for these, followed by a very regimented tradition. So I would say that would lend to it more than it sounds on its face. To granolify your very funny joke.
Granolify?
Yeah, make
actually-
it fucking plain.
That
I'm sorry?
Make it as-
about the Great Wall of China some more.
Well, there you go. And then you can spell Great Wall of China, right, Mark?
I don't know if I can spell granolify. Is that a word?
No.
You didn't lead with the right thing. You should have asked Mark if he knew where the Great Wall of China was.
I mean,
It's in Uruguay.
is that in Africa?
Chile.
It's Africa, the continent.
Yeah.
Sorry, the country. Shit. I fucked up my
You
own
fucked
joke.
that up. You fucked it up.
So let's see. Where is the Great Wall?
Of China.
Where
Yeah.
in the world is Marky's educational listener now?
I mean, do you want me to answer seriously? Or you want me to be
Yeah.
like,
No,
No,
seriously,
no,
where is the Great
seriously.
Wall of China?
in Asia?
Okay.
Okay. Zoom it in.
Why?
What is
Asia is a continent.
what is the Great Wall of China?
But I'm right, right?
yeah.
So I
yes.
mean, what do I have to prove? What else do I have
said
to
on
prove?
Earth?
Well,
and that
hold
would
up,
have been
hold up.
correct as well.
Like,
but we all know
in the
that's-
Milky Way.
I know how you're trying to pin this bitch, but he's not a stuck pig just yet. Great Wall of China ain't just in China though, is it? It's like in several countries though, because that's like China wasn't always China on that fucking border.
Hey,
It recedes and it grows.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yeah?
I didn't join this fucking podcast to talk about geography. All right,
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
here to talk.
Yeah,
about,
you did.
Well-
I'm here to talk about fake shit.
Okay,
All
I'm
right?
gonna give you the best. I'm gonna drop a bomb.
I like
on the,
that.
I'm
I
gonna
like
drop
that.
a bomb on the table real quick, and it'll lead into that depending on where you are
Great
in
Wall of
China.
China's fake.
No. I'm just gonna say the word Taiwan, and we're just gonna walk away from there
Oh
on
my
fake or
God.
real.
Oh my God.
We're just gonna leave the bomb on the table.
That's a hot take.
That's a bomb. I've not made any accusations.
So anyway,
Or in-
the Great Wall of China
The Great Wall of China.
it exists to split China and Mongolia to separate the
Mongolia is
old,
to the north, right?
yes,
North and
the
west.
old
North of China?
boundary of one of the Chinese warlord dynasties.
several of the Chinese dynasties. The
Well,
Great
yeah,
Wall of China, like if you actually look at the Great Wall of China and where it's constructed, it's a mess.
It's
It is
crazy.
a
It's all over the
mess.
fucking place.
There were so many superstitious things around there. It might
And
have been.
each dynasty had its own set of rules, so they would build different chunks of it.
That's why the different sections look completely different.
Yeah.
There's I don't know if this is one of
It's crazy.
those like propaganda things that they made, like to kind of change the
I tried
rules.
to segue off of the Great Wall of China. People, I'm sorry.
no, that's
Tried.
cool. We
no,
got it.
No, there is no weakness in this dojo. There is
Nobody
no Great
gives
Wall
a
of
shit
China in
about the
this
Great Wall
dojo.
of China. I'm just saying.
All the time when everybody talks
Do you care about the Great Wall of China, Ryan?
Not really.
All right then.
I keep,
Point proven. And Ryan's the only one that's been to China.
But I was just trying to think. I guarantee you there is a Space Marine chapter that is based on this concept. We know that there's a Space Marine chapter based on the Mongols or the Horse Lords, which is
Right.
the White Scars. I
Right.
guarantee you there is a chapter based on the Chinese dynasties. I don't know what it is on the top of my head, but I guarantee you there is a Space Marine chapter.
there's a
based on the
successor
dynasties.
chapter at least.
There has to be.
They would totally be like librarians because it'd be like that weird esoteric kind of like tap into your spirit realm.
Yeah.
Like you kind of get that a little bit with Celestial Lions because they don't call their librarians.
Is it the Hispanic chapter? And they have to like
So it's funny because you guys made that joke in the Discord the other
Yeah.
day. I don't
bear
think
me.
I don't think you guys realize how damn close you are to something. So there was a chapter
Yeah.
that no longer exists, but
Right.
there was an incredibly racist, unfair, uneducated depiction of goddamn engines as a Space Marine chapter that
Really?
existed. Oh yeah, goddamn them engines.
You're talking
Them
about
engines and
them-
fighting them cowboys, and it is not.
skins.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it is not well hidden at all. And as a goddamn engine,
Huh.
As
going
one
back
of them
and
there
hitting
savages.
kernels of those again.
Hey,
I'm like,
not gonna
oh,
lie,
man.
like Carcharodons, like having like like an Aztec almost, like
They're
Space
like
Marine.
Carcharodons.
the Peloponnesian.
they're
kind
more,
of-
yeah, they're more
Pacific
Polynesian.
Islanders.
They're Maori. Yeah.
That'd be pretty sick.
the
Yeah,
shark
Aren't-
dudes.
I was about to say they're also shark, but which is also.
I thought they
very
were like
Maori.
Samoan.
Yeah, they are.
That's Maori.
Oh, that is okay.
All
Yeah.
that area is kind of similar.
Hey, y'all motherfuckers ever seen a 7-foot tall super mutant do the fucking haka?
That would be
That's
pretty impressive.
Very, very terrifying.
I have
Yeah,
myself
sure.
done the haka.
I know it's 7 feet. How tall is?
A regular Space Marine guy is like 7 feet. A Primaris is about 8. A Custodes is around 9.
Primarchs are like
No.
10 to 12.
No. Space Marines are about 9 feet tall alone.
I thought they were only about 7, and then armor puts them to 9.
don't know because humanity can, on average, reach close to 7 just naturally.
Guardsmen on
The
average.
voidborn would be.
guardsmen were 6.
A voidborn human could be 7 feet tall easily.
Yeah, definitely. Low gravity has that effect on your human body.
And
Speaking of gravity having that effect on your body, has anybody seen? Y'all watching or at least watched some of The Expanse, right?
I fucking love that show,
dude. When they're
so good.
There's an interrogation scene. There's an interrogation scene really close to the beginning where they're trying to get information out of somebody who was born in space, and he's suspended in water, and then they drain the tank of water so his own body weight starts pulling on his joints.
And like crushing his ability, like he can't like breathe.
That's how they're torturing him.
They're just letting him sit in Earth's gravity and like brutal, like just do work on his body.
Damn.
Have you seen The Expanse? It's in the
So
first
good.
episode or second
so
episode.
Good. The whole series is amazing.
I've had friends recommend to me. I have this surprisingly hot take, despite the fact I'm a Warhammer 40k fan. I really don't care about sci-fi in a lot of senses.
Interesting.
This one is,
Let's unpack that for a second.
Okay.
So
Okay,
The
I'm ready for the
Expanse is
spotlight.
one of those things that the reason I like it is the space opera level of politic game going on between multiple factions and characters at different levels.
Yeah, like the Space Game of Thrones.
Yeah. But also,
But there's a lot of weird action.
All of it is based pretty much on hard science fact, except for there's one mechanic in there, and it's the like thrust system.
The second shit starts getting political, I'm out.
It's not political to modern. It's political like Mars government, the asteroid belt government, Earth government.
It is. If you understand the political climate that existed in the late 2010s, based on when they started writing the books, and you understand what's happened in politics up until now, it draws
a lot of parallels.
There are a lot of parallels,
but it's not. It's not like a political commentary on.
It's good.
Politics.
It's very good. The
totally
books are very good.
The books are great.
It points it, but it doesn't take a side kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can tell what they're getting at but they don't go, hey, look at this, look at me, I'm right here.
It's not American Horror Story where there's very obviously this is there, and then we get to that.
It's not like where South Park sees something and then makes an episode a week later directly related.
All right, so we're gonna unpack. I want it before we get into the meat of our episode. I want to unpack the statement you just said. But since I'm that guy, custodes generally stand between 7.5 and 8.5 feet tall, and the only thing printed in a source book suggests they are 9 feet tall unarmored, which would make Space Marines, which are about a foot to foot and a half shorter than them, 7.5 to 8 feet. Primarchs are generally described between being
between
Primarchs
and Cody
are pretty much universally depicted as 10 to 12 feet tall.
Yeah, it's Vulcan is like the exception to that rule because he's a fucking Eternal and he's just like
he's a
jacked.
little bit bigger, and then Magnus was also big too.
After
I thought he was big before. Also.
Magnus,
he wasn't necessarily strong. But
Magnus was close, but it's like he has the hair.
Right, he has the big hair.
Yeah,
so that's why he looks bigger than he actually is.
Yeah,
got all that.
Andy has the titty horns.
Oh, this is pre titty horns.
Before
titty horns and
I'm sorry, it's just the titty horns are like
laugh all you
I
want.
love it. It looks sick as shit, but it is, if you think about it, what it represents, it's very amusing.
I'm just saying, laugh all you want. I got those horns when I was basically deconstructing my Magnus, and I was basically ripping it apart after freezing it. Cut like from my my middle finger to my index finger through my thumb. It was like the horn just went. I'm like, oh yeah, but fucking horn. Okay, just like had like I actually got the
horn in your finger.
Yeah, I had horn in my finger, and it was like
he boned you.
The number of times I've torn my hands up and like deadened like cells on Warhammer.
Oh yeah, chaos,
you can
and sisters are spicy.
Magnus has boned you.
Okay,
fucking nerd.
So what's going on with the dislike of sci-fi in general?
Sci-fi to me, it's very much the sci-fi, at least in general, goal is you're trying to put something in the far future, but still have it basically people of today in there. You'll have modern day issues in there. You'll have that. I like my escape history. I like the high fantasy. I like it where you can pull from a culture We can make the joke, dwarves are Irish, all that stuff. Orcs are Cockney or whatever source you pull from it. You can pull from a culture, but you can still change it, and you can use it as a flavor to make something for escapistry. Sci-fi there's some cool story out there, but it's really just more of humanity that we can see nowadays with a warp drive or a laser gun. And we already have fucking laser guns, just not en masse or as cool.
I can see that. I actually, being somebody who writes a lot of science fiction, I struggle a lot with trying to figure out how to write convincing aliens, things that are actually alien to our existence, because that's what we're going to hit.
Humans with a different skin.
Right.
Which is also a problem in fantasy, because that you'll see that a lot.
Right,
fantasy races,
write other races, and they basically just act like humans, but they have different.
I forget the term, but it's where you'll take one or two attributes and you'll just make that only that characteristic for that person.
It happens in Warhammer a lot. It happens in sci-fi a lot.
Yeah.
An example would be Tatooine. Tatooine is a desert planet. The likelihood of there being a desert planet,
single biome planets in general, are really almost impossible.
Yeah.
They're without some ridiculous other nonsense going on.
It happens, but it's
I actually listened. I found an astrophysicist that specifically breaks this down, and they're like, so because a planet is round, a sphere, parts will be further away from the star than others. Therefore, certain parts of the planet will be colder.
Yeah.
That is right, but that doesn't necessarily change the biome, right? Just like Mars. Mars is one biome.
Right, but Mars is
not one biome on Mars.
Mars, it's
got like two.
Yeah.
It's like 3 or 4.
I say two because it's like the atmosphere thing where it is, because their atmosphere is so fucked up.
You can have when you don't have a heliosphere and you don't have a magnetosphere, a lot of things happen to your planet. That's how you get a dead world, and Mars is essentially a dead world. But the idea that a planet that is not tidally locked, a planet that rotates like Earth, that tidally locked means one side always faces the sun. And by the way, a lot of the planets that we've observed that may or may not support life are tidally locked. So the fact that our planet rotates may be the red herring, not the norm. But we just don't know. We don't have enough information yet, realistically. Yeah. But the idea that a planet, or not the idea, that the concept that a planet would only have one environment that dominates its entire surface would theoretically be out of the norm from our observable universe. We can tell that there's differences in Jupiter. We can tell that there's differences in Venus. We can tell that there's differences in those differences may be all of this shit will kill humans
right.
in a different way.
But if you learn those different
a hot zone, a cold zone, a middle zone,
Yeah. That's interesting.
I would also like to put the nail in the coffin on some of my abstaining of sci-fi. Normalize non-spherical fucking planets, for God's sake. I want a donut hole planet because they have some weird like dark matter in the center there. Like they did this shit in old school D&D, where the fucking aberrants had like their stuff in Space Jammer. It's a disc with the sun in the center, and there's a giant wall, and so you have constant
ring world.
Yeah, you have a ring world, and it's a constant day and night, but it's a flat disc. It's not like the ring world in Halo where you go around. So it's like you have this kind of shit in fantasy games that take their own take on sci-fi. But we always go, we don't go into the fantastical in the sci-fi of what is that concept of what happens when we go past light. How does that affect us when we go in that thing? That's why I like Orson Scott Card stuff for sci-fi, because
it's Scott Card's books.
Like, and you can kind of get there's exception of the rule there. For my love on it, and you get that bigger concept, and then you can have the human drama there.
But what's nice about
the other thing,
because Orson Scott Card, primarily the Ender series, and I do see what you're saying there, is you could really kind of pull all the sci-fi out of that, and it's still a human story.
Yeah,
essentially, it's all those problems minus the fact that they're going to other places.
Yeah,
and
it's about communication.
It's about humans. It's about compassion. It's there. I mean, there's like a whole bunch of plot lines, but it's essentially still just a human story.
But if you can then go into a fantastical thing where you go, yeah, there is a world where the rules are fundamentally different, and then we can go look in that sci-fi, go, that's cool. That's making me think. That's going, how would we work that way? That's why, even though it's sort of sci-fi, sci-real, or whatever it'd be, fictional, like the Martian. They pull a lot of that stuff. That to me is
that's like hard sci-fi.
That's like it takes from the old thing, man versus nature, but it then turns on its head with the sci-fi setting. And if there was more stuff like that, where we can think
like Castaway, but for Mars.
Yeah, like if you
it's essentially what it was.
Outside the box.
I think what you're identifying, interestingly enough, is that you have a problem with edgy sci-fi. You have a problem with post 2000 science fiction,
the dark leather trench coats,
everything got that muddy veneer, and everything is essentially and very realistically everything is a war story now. And old Star Trek kind of has that every episode is a parable on how humanity needs to do things better or whatever. Yeah. However, what I would challenge you to do, if you are open to it, is to
watch
read
Galaxy Quest.
Bitch, I will watch that again. I want to,
but that's a comedy.
This is what Ryan challenges you to do.
No, it's not. But that is that Galaxy Quest is amazing.
I will answer that one first. We get there. I will always watch the goddamn actor from Monk stone off his ass.
Oh yeah, man!
Teleport
Tony
a cow
Shalhoub.
Inside out.
Dude, Tony Shalhoub, good old Tony Shalhoub.
I was like, I don't have a name. What's my name? I'm expendable. I'm expendable
because he doesn't have a last name. Yeah.
Past the third episode.
That's fucking.
I know you're talking about the actor. I know you're talking about.
He is the red shirt.
Yeah, and he's such a great actor.
Right, but he's like he's the actor that does Rockwell is his last name.
I think he was the
honestly, it's been
the janitor in Polly.
I haven't watched Polly.
You haven't watched Polly?
Seen that one in so long.
He's Along Came Polly or just Polly?
Just Polly.
I don't know. He's Zaphod Beetlebrox and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, you're right. He is.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
So you should read that because that shit's hysterical. You should read all of Hitchhikers. However, the other thing that I would suggest for you is Larry Niven. Larry Niven is a science fiction author who is known for a series of books that take place in what's called the known universe. He is the originator of not the theory, which is the Dyson's ring, but the use of a ring world in science fiction. Larry Niven's ring world is a world built as a ring around a star at the Goldilocks zone.
Okay.
All the way. And there are big plates that float in the air that cause day-night cycle. If you go all the way to one end...
platforms.
What's up?
They're called aerosat platforms.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but that's like the modern technical term. And they contemplate using those to control global warming on Earth.
Yeah. If we could build those, we would... be built
basically four blimps with a big tarp between them, and you just like, oh, this area is now shady.
You know how we fund them? It's gonna have the Nike check mark on there. Just do it.
Well, what you do is you make the big tarp out of a big photovoltaic cell, and now you have a giant solar powered or solar collector that's also
when we have the technology to make that, we should be doing other things with it closer to the sun, which generate more power.
Was it Treasure Planet with solar sails?
Fuck yeah.
I loved that movie's aesthetic, and that's a good combo. It's a fantasy story with
it's literally Treasure Island. It's literally Treasure Island.
And they basically just paint the sci-fi over the top.
So a ring world has a shield wall, which is an incredibly tall wall at the edge of it. And you're talking about a structure that has like to the billionths of powers more space than Earth.
Yeah.
He's got an alien race called the Puppeteers, which have 3 legs and 2 heads. They don't have any hands, but they are incredibly intelligent. Their mouths are tool manipulators, and they have 2 mouths.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh, because I guess they have 2 heads, so of course they have 2 mouths. Yeah. But like that makes sense because then one head can do things.
They can manipulate tools with their mouths.
Yeah.
And another thing is there's another book that he wrote called The Integral Trees, and in the Integral Trees, the Goldilocks zone is a donut all the way around the planet, all the way around the sun. Okay. And in that donut, because that donut for some reason has a gravity and is captured atmosphere, basically there's atmosphere all the way through the orbit of Earth.
So literally what I just fucking described, like let's go for a cool non
and there are giant trees in it which spin and stay in place with centrifugal force. The humans that evolved and live in this area live their entire lives on those trees.
I dig it.
So there is definitely some sci-fi that I think will hit your buttons in a little bit better ways. I think you just have a problem with post Gears of War,
post Matrix,
post 2001 sci-fi.
Yeah.
Post 2001 media.
Yeah. And the Matrix was good, but it's really funny because watching the trailer for the Matrix 4, I was like, oh, so they wrote and released this movie. A bunch of people made stuff inspired by the Matrix, and now they're making the fourth Matrix, and now they're going back to all those movies that did cool stuff and putting it in Matrix 4, which is cool. But it also pointed out to me that like this is one of the reasons I'm super excited that fucking Dune is coming out. Dune is a different type of sci-fi. The fact that they are redoing Dune is awesome. Excited.
I've heard good. I think some people have already seen it, and they've said nothing but good things about it so far.
I would hope so. I'm really excited and looking forward to going to see it.
I thought we all loved David Lynch version of Dune. Isn't that just a loved, 1-to-1?
I loved it for like 9 hours.
The first, you're thinking of the sci-fi miniseries.
Yeah, the sci-fi reboot. Either way, the original one was long as shit too.
The first 2/3 of the David Lynch movie are really good. The last third is very, very weird and drags.
I would say it's kind of the
actually
middle that
not.
drags.
It's actually not that long of a movie.
It feels long.
It just feels like it was fucking David Lynch.
Feels like a 3-hour movie. No matter what. My
favorite part about that David Lynch Dune movie is not anything about the movie, but he did a press junket. He goes, "Oh, it was probably one of my most spiritual films ever made." Someone goes, "Can you elaborate on that?" No, and he just goes on to something else.
Well, he hates that film.
Absolutely not.
He absolutely hates that film. It's
Really?
one of two films. Movies? It's one of 2 films that he's directed that he's just like, I hate this. I don't like. I'm done with it. I don't.
Did he ever say why?
About it again? He didn't like the way it came out. The David Lynch Dune movie suffered from the sort of weird stuff that we're starting to see happen again on the other side of the spectrum, essentially with like the DC movies, where a lot of people are going in and kind of watching it and making changes after the fact. There's no concise vision.
Okay. Too many creative cooks.
Too many cooks and too many producers thinking they know better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So to drag us back to Warhammer 40K and specifically get into that is one of the cool things. Warhammer 40K is science fancy. It's not science fiction. It's science fancy.
Related to Dune. Pulled a lot of inspiration from Dune.
Oh yeah.
Games Workshop would love to talk to you with their legal team in a private room real quick.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh no, I will, and we're gonna get it. We're gonna do a Dune and Warhammer 40K episode at some point.
9 out of 10 things isn't a direct copy. It's just 9 out of 10 things.
My friend talked about because he
possession is 9/10 of the law,
and the other 10th is a good lawyer. But because a friend talked to me about when you do like blueprints and patents, basically you need like a 15% difference for like a patent on something.
Yep.
So it's like
design patent.
Yeah. So there you go. If that's a rubric.
I'm going to bring it up because we just talked about how tall Space Marines are. So we've talked about it in our Discord, we've talked about it in our community, and we've talked about it in production meetings. So it is not one Space Marine that can take over an entire fucking planet. And this comes from Crusade era Space Marines, which were more powerful or theoretically better equipped.
Better technology.
They were better equipped and better maintained than current Space Marines. A force of 100 of these genetically and biochemically enhanced transhuman warriors could quell a rebellious city in a solar hour. Thousands could conquer a world in only solar days, and tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands wielded at once were the doom to an entire species, capable of reducing alien civilizations to mere dust and memory in a span no greater than a single course of Terra's orbit around the sun. So to be very specific, 100 would take several hours to take out a city. 1,000 would be several days to take over a world, and tens of thousands would be used to wipe out a galaxy, not a galaxy,
species,
but a species that had probably spread off more than one planet in 365 days. So when you guys are quoting this, only one Space Marine is needed to take down a global power. No.
If they're blue, sure.
That's true. If they're Ultramarines.
When I was trying to allude that a single Marine could do it, I didn't mean that was like the expected way to do it would be, just put one Space Marine there.
Yeah.
I was more implying that a Space Marine with the knowledge that a Space Marine has against a planet our tech level, not like crazy sci-fi tech level, could probably be subdued mostly by guerrilla warfare. I'm not saying that one Space Marine could just march down the street and Rambo his way across.
He can Rambo 1 it, he cannot Rambo 3 it.
I 100% think that even a small group of Space Marines versus the crazy ass militaries that our world has designed and made specifically to kill each other, it'd be a zombie. It's a zombie movie. It's a zombie movie.
Yeah, it would turn into a zombie movie.
100%. If you've got enough range and you have enough ammo, you're probably going to take out the first couple of hundred. However, that second and third couple of hundred are going to kill you.
Yeah. And I by no means meant that one Marine could do it in any reasonable amount of time.
The only reason I bring it up, Kevin, is not to go after you. It's actually come up in the Discord a couple of times in the last month, and you haven't been part of the conversation.
I'm doing a new job.
I posted it in my third alt account. Why did you have to fucking call me out when I came here today?
Listen, Linda.
I have not been Linda.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
I have not Linded somebody in quite a
I listened Linded somebody. Well, somebody else is on the phone with somebody named Linda, and the person was just giving him like unreasonable demands for something.
So you listened them,
and they were like, "Geez, Linda!" Like after they hung up the phone, and I was like, "Did you tell Linda to listen?" And somebody else sitting in the next cubicle over just busts out laughing. They're like, "Did you just listen, Linda?"
But that's interesting with the scope for like taking over, like, so it's 1,000 to kind of like take over a planet.
1,000 is a planet in a few days.
So if we take that into modern, basically it's an entire chapter of Space Marines can in the modern day for them, they're Millennium 42, whatever.
Right.
It would be an entire chapter could take over a planet, and I would say at this point maybe a month with half of it destroyed, given how grimdark it is now.
Yeah,
depending on the tech level of the world
and the chapter.
Depends on
like if it's Marines Malevolent, there ain't no planet there left.
Yeah. I also think it depends on, I mean, like it's a weird calculus to make, but it's always gotten me that like somebody's like, oh yeah, if you send one guy in, well, sure. If it's the equivalent of James Bond or Rambo and you're trying to tell that story, fine.
I mean, if Castellan Creed was a Space Marine, I feel like if Castellan Creed was a Space Marine, I feel like...
I mean, if Sly Marbo was a Space Marine.
Oh my God.
Sly Marbo is a Space Marine. He just rebukes power armor. He rebukes power armor. he oils his power armor 6 packs a day.
Yeah.
Now, if that one Space Marine just happened to fall in Australia, he'd be like, what the fuck? This is worse than the Hive fleets we fight.
Right?
These Tyranids are so small.
How did it bite me in the toe? Why am I dying? I have 2 hearts.
Right?
All right. So speaking of taking over planets, let's talk about the matchup we just had, and more pointedly, the backgrounds that we've come up with. So we played, for those of you who watched the stream a couple of weeks ago, you watched Ickbard and I fight, and we did squats versus Necrons. So first off, give us a quick rundown of what squats are.
The very long and the short of it, they are Space Dwarves, true and true. That is like 90% of the reason why I wanted to build them. Everywhere I go, I like fantasy and everything. I love dwarves. The idea of this basically sturdy, like loyal companion kind of person, very stubborn, can kind of sit there and kind of take the punishment and go forward with life, is kind of that kind of like hero archetype I love in fantasy. So to have that as an archetype brought into as a template for other worlds is awesome. And then when I learned about these guys and I got to learn about them more, basically they were kind of a high-tech biker gang who got to have Imperial Guard armaments, who loved to use plasma. The people would literally just go around with plasma guns, the things that have a chance to literally blow up on you. And like can just run around in their war bikes, basically. And they have these giant mechanized trains. You'd only really see it in Epic 40K, but they had all these amazing large mechanical constructs for vehicles. And I love using vehicles in 40K. So it was like you put your chocolate in my peanut butter and it was just perfect.
There you go.
Very interesting way to say that you liked it.
The chocolate and the peanut butter?
I love me some Reese's.
It's good, man.
My Reese's
are
Pieces.
amazing.
All the Reese's. I'm just
saying
put it in my mouth.
it was interesting. I'm just saying.
I agree.
I feel like if that were a text, there'd be a ...
Marky is writing a response.
Marky is typing. It's been over a minute. It's like he hasn't stopped typing.
It's either going to be real bad.
He says all it says, "Call me."
It's either going to be real bad or he's deleted it
Just
like
call
6
me.
times.
Just call me.
Just call me. So explain to us the history of your squats. Give us the lore.
Do you have like a backstory for them?
I do. So the best way to talk about the lore of them is to talk about the official lore for the end of the squats, as far as we know. Because I know that you guys don't want to hard date things, but there are current rumors about squats and Men of Iron coming out for the current rotation, which I'm really hopeful for very obvious reasons. But basically, the idea was there was a Hive Fleet Leviathan or Kraken, either one of them.
Hive Fleet something or other.
Yeah, they went to their somehow mostly dead world with dense minerals.
Nitties go choo choo choo.
And basically just killed them all. And the idea was there was only vagrant amounts of them running around in Imperial Guard regiments. And I went, oh, that's really cool. Okay, I feel like I can do some Imperial Guard there. I'm not going to make him Space Marines. That's not lore friendly in that kind of case. I feel like that'd be a harder sell. And plus, the dwarf finishers I end up looking at, they fit on 28mm bases. Like, oh, cool, that's guardsmen. I go with that and just kind of go from there. And plus, it puts them in that everyman role that guardsmen are. Mm-hmm. And you can give them rules like Valhallans or something like that that have these really great morale stuff to kind of give them that template that you have.
That stoic warrior template.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it. And it's great. Like them or Mordians, because Mordians have some interesting rules there with added leadership if they're touching bases, like camaraderie.
Mordians are pretty cool. I wish the rules were a little better for 9th because some of their stuff doesn't super help.
Like Valhallan stuff doesn't really work. It's kind of there, but it's
the
not.
only cool thing that I have this, like, I know it's not really like viable, but I always really wanted the Valhallans to be like the secret meta.
Okay,
where you just play like 200 conscripts, run them into the enemy, and then shoot into your own men in melee because they can do that.
Just oops, Rush Bulgrin. And instead of Rush B, it's Rush Bulgrin.
Yeah.
There you go.
Bunch of Bulgrin go in, bunch of conscripts go in, and you just shoot at bad guys anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I roll ones, who gives a shit? They're conscripts.
And it's that kind of that hardcore stoicism that I love to see from. But they ended up dying. And they were just these kind of waylaid Imperial Guard regiments. And I went, you know what? I think I could do a pretty good Guard army with that. I think that'd be fun. And there's some stakes there. If they die, there's no great resupply. So I figured, look into it. So basically, they had strongholds. They had different planets of strongholds. They got stuck on one final planet. And I figured, okay, I doubt all of them are dead. It's like... Eldar have been a dying race for how many thousands of years, and there's still countless numbers of them. Mm-hmm. Like hell, all the squats are dead. So, like the people with the resources and the way to escape would obviously be able to escape with probably a pretty well regimented and trained military to help them get out of there with tech crew. So I'm like, okay, sounds like they probably have a lot of vehicles. Maybe not everyone to crew them all the time. By a lot of vehicles. So I ended up going, okay, let's have the 369th Armored Vehicle Company of the last stronghold. So I just call them Squat Guard for short because I doubt everyone wants to have to go, here's and you just go.
Nah, every single time they introduce themselves.
Yes, there you go.
I am Jimmy 6 of the 300 and what is it?
369th.
I am Jimmy 6 of the 369th
Armored Vehicle Company, the squad of this Armored Vehicle Company of the Stronghold. Yeah.
And then the guy he's talking to is like, "Hi, Jimmy 6. I am Thomas 5 of the 360."
Yeah. So it's like,
I need you to send this message to
Thomas 4 of.
It's like, can you pass this message? It's like it's a long list. It's just like it's like custodies, all names, and he goes, "Would you like to go on a date? Check yes, no." Like, yeah, but yeah.
Do you like me?
So
have you ever seen a dwarven woman?
Don't you know? You got to check under the beard to see what's going on. But no, it's like and so I was told about how there was squats that were teased in the engine war book for Psychic Awakening. A Mechanicus scout ship was radioing in that they found a roaming spaceship full of squats, like an actual squat like ship. And I'm like, I want
those.
those.
Did they actually use the term squats?
It goes squat. It's like it cut out intermittently. It goes. Oh my god!
It's
I thought they were dead. It's the like... squat ... as it's like cutting out in between the transmission.
Okay.
So they didn't. They
did it on purpose.
Yeah.
They teased it on purpose.
Yeah.
That was intentional.
And this was right as they were also releasing the Necromunda squats.
It's like how every 15 years we have to suffer through some fucking abysmal Fantastic Four movie because the studio doesn't want the rights to burn out.
Thanks, Vaz Luhrmann. Anywho,
GW's been like, it's been 2 editions since we said something about squats. We should say something about squats.
We need to reset.
Let's try and give them some hope.
Listen, we need to reset that clock. Okay,
we need to retain the rights to that. Let's just drop a hint. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's like, it's like, okay, I want that to be my army. And I ended up getting a pretty interesting story for them. I'll get it here for the pause for it. Do you want me to go into the actual story of them?
Yeah, go for it, man.
And so I figured here's my lore for them. They were caught by the Mechanicus. Not caught, but intercepted, and they talked, and they have guard weaponry regiment, all that stuff. They're just mutants, and they already take mutants, as we've seen with Bolgrin and Ratlings and all that good shit. And
enough for me.
So what are Ratlings considered, like halflings?
Essentially, they're halflings.
They're basically like halflings.
So essentially the opposite of a Bolgrin or
Yep.
And they were basically so in fantasy, there's an area of the fantasy world where all the halflings live.
Right.
It's at the edge of Imperial space.
The Shire?
It's called the Moot, actually, but it's very much like the Shire.
Get bodied, Marky.
Damn.
It's called the Moot, and it's basically the big town where all the halflings live. And essentially, they took that concept and were like, all right, they're good like scouts. They're good at, range shooting, but not good at melee. So they're
really good at dying, so they'll fit right in with the guard.
There you go.
And so they gave it to us as the literally the opposite of Bolgrin are.
Yeah,
basically halflings.
Instead of melee, they were given a sniper rifle and 2 shots. No, but and so they intercepted, and at that point, this is when the Charadon book was being released. This is where no one even knew how to say it right. No one, because they didn't have any tutors. Everyone's like, oh, because it's Caradons. It's Caradon, but it's also British people, and they don't like to pronounce words right, so it's Charadon or whatever.
Aluminium.
It's I don't know what you're talking about. It's very obvious the Chadron book.
It's a Chadron book.
Chadron. Chadron are here.
It's your emphasis and syllables and what you choose to ignore in your into it. But so it's like, okay.
Listen, if French can have so many silent letters, I can ignore letters.
I mean, to be fair, I would say it's only out of historical spite that the British say every vowel that there is in a French word. I'm 90% sure it's not even an accent thing. They could say filet, but it's just like there's that. No, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'll ask my friend about it. He'll probably have a laugh. But yeah, we ended up doing a Crusade League at my game store. So we ended up having. I was like, I want to play my squad card. That sounds awesome. And so we ended up getting I ended up getting to build my lore in the background there. Essentially, for me, they were coming off a loss, and I'm actually going to phrase it as this was the loss for them right there.
Oh, really?
Vehicles did their job. Infantry failed. Charadon was kind of there. We need to get our infantry back up into movement, and we're only going to have a couple of vehicles there to really give them that support. So to kind of get them back in that training. My very first game was a 1,000-point game against the Drukhari, which just released at that time.
Okay.
1,000 points Drukhari versus Guard. It's a very small board size.
Wow.
I did not have Bolgrin. I did not know how awesome Drukhari were. I only learned that, 75-point Chimera stopped all that for 3 turns, and then I just held that objective because I had more OBSEC, and then they died, and that's where I started to learn how to build them the way I want them to.
Chimeras have that fun level of durability where you don't ever expect them to last a long time.
Yeah.
But then as soon as they're not being hit by dedicated anti-tank weaponry, you're like, that thing is a brick.
Oh yeah, it's a steel coffin to some. It is a vessel for others,
mm-hmm.
And it's and so it was a rough match, and I lost. So I figured, okay, Drukhari are slavers. There's all that stuff, and we ended up getting into potential tag teams and all that stuff. It fell through, but in our second game, basically there was another Drukhari player in there, and I was thinking, What if it was like the lore? There's two different raiding parties hitting there, and they hate each other. They want to get their stuff. They would offer, because it would help them out. They would offer to rescue some of our guys back, so they could have a bigger haul, so they get like a bigger reward.
Okay.
And so it ended up being like, if you do that, we need you to deal with these Harlequins here.
Okay.
We need you to lead them into
an enemy of my enemy.
Yeah, and so we ended up basically rescuing our guys. We ended up, I haven't made them all for it. I think it'd be fun. Like, they get this weird little flesh ball that hangs out, goes around the combat for the future.
Oh, Jesus.
And every time a guardsman, like a squad, gets hurt, it basically rejuvenates just a little bit more. And it's just basically
a little testicle rolling around the battlefield.
No, it's floating. It's just flying around.
A floating sack, like going around.
And it's like absorbing.
It's an enslaver.
You know how like the homunculus will literally absorb pain and turn it into like elixir of youth.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going with it exactly yet, but basically there's a ticking time bomb with them because Drukhari never give you a straight deal.
Nope.
And so basically, like, oh, they're gonna die in the future. I'm sure we'll have this relic of ours. Let it rejuvenate, and then it can wreak its own havoc and come back to us, kind of thing.
Huh.
So it was a die now, die later kind of thing. And so they ended up actually rather infamously outrunning Harlequins. Outpaced them, nuked their bikes, used turn one, just like destroyed the bikes. And we're like, okay, so the bikes got destroyed. Sandstorm came in, no one could advance. I was an armored vehicle company, so most of my stuff were chimeras or tanks. Basilisks follow the chimera tread rules, so they were moving at 12 inches. In the lore, that's about 50 kilometers an hour off-road.
Yeah, chimeras are supposed to be really fast in the lore.
Yeah, they are very fast, and they're also aquatic.
Yeah, they're supposed to be amphibious as well.
Yeah, so think about it this way: a howitzer is on a very amphibious track that can move 50 kilometers an hour off-road.
I wouldn't imagine a basilisk doing that, though.
But it follows the same speed, and it has the same chassis. And that's what I'm saying.
Higher weight, higher center of gravity.
I don't know, man.
Only because I studied a lot of like real world physics about why tanks are shaped the way they are.
Space dwarves.
Space dwarves, exactly.
Space dwarves. Sorry, nothing but space dwarves. But yeah.
Zero gravity beards.
the beard floats in space, Barley. But anywho, maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's a lack of gravity, fuckwad. But anyway,
fuck you, Shorzy.
Yeah, like for my guys, I ended up getting them all like their squad names, and I just basically looked up like traditional Irish names, and basically whenever people would die, I go, no, Billy, oh, it'll run away. So shout out to Ireland. And I just do all these silly voices for him.
If the entire country of Ireland would like to sponsor the podcast, you can reach our email.
Exactly, and so they got their guys back. Then they end up
yell at Ickbard@gmail.com.
No. You got to plug it right. Peninsula Miniature Painting at gmail.com.
No. I think all complaints come to yell at Ickbard@gmail.com. No, I'm kidding. I would have to register that. That'd be a pain in the ass.
It takes 5 seconds.
It's true.
It's a pain in the ass.
That's true.
It's not worth the joke.
5 seconds of my life.
Yeah, exactly. So after that point, they got their guys back. And they were getting some help from. This is when I incorporated some sisters into it, and they got some help from sisters, because they were like, "Oh, there are guardsmen that need help there." Because canonically, sisters love guardsmen because guardsmen basically embody everything that they want, for the Empire. To their dismay, they found out that they were mutants, but at that point, Mechanicus wanted to steal their technology from the squats because they had all that high tech.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So the Mechanicus were taking advantage of basically the Death Guard coming into Charadon to then just go, oh, we're just going to nuke them and steal their stuff because that's already discovered technology. That's fair game. Give it to me. And they ended up winning. The sisters had to flee though because they got the Mechanicus said, hey, their sisters hanging with mutants. They're obviously a fallen order like Sabathil and all that stuff.
So Are there actually fallen orders of sisters?
Yes, it's a little more common than people talk about.
Really?
It's just like it's very rare.
Yeah.
The propaganda is they're they are infallible.
Yeah,
like Grey Knights,
exactly.
But there are times where it happens. There are entire like battalions of them that do fall, but they get swept under the rug. The only one who didn't was like Sister Sabathiel, who fell to Slaanesh.
Yeah.
She's the only one that kind of got away they couldn't clean up.
Yeah, because I was...
I feel like she's the only named one, really.
Because I like the idea of Sisters of Battle, but I was always like, man, I'm not really a fan of the whole like super religious zealot kind of thing. That's kind of why I stayed away from like Black Templars and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I wanted
like the fact that they are.
like it's just not for me.
Fair.
Yeah, it's just not for me. I was just like, them like being all like super preachy and like, if you don't love the Emperor, then fucking die. I'm like, I mean, I understand it, but I'm like, I want some sisters that like maybe fell to Khorne, like some Khorne sisters.
Just,
sisters.
Dude, work a squad of Repentia into your.
Yeah, right.
So
run them as like bloodthirsters.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, Repentia and bloodthirsters. Like I feel like that could really mix in well.
Run Repentia, but use them as
Khorne berserkers and all stuff.
Just proxy
I can
them.
see that.
That would be fun.
Chaos equivalent of a Crusader, basically, for like a guard army or Inquisitor army. And then it led up into the final battle. It led against the Inquisition-backed Minotaurs.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, it's very much an ouch.
Wait. Was that person's lore? Because a lot of people think the High Lords back the Minotaurs.
This is my assumption. He plays
40K conspiracy theories.
Well, everything's so word of mouth. How can you tell?
Yeah, who are the Minotaurs?
Yeah, he loves them, and he got some awesome 3D printed stuff where he has like the classic, like he has like the bowl on the shield, like classic,
that's
like Grecian,
awesome.
like the Grecian stuff. It's so good. I'll try to get some photos of them and send them to you guys so you can see them. And so the idea was, okay, so the Inquisition was called the Sisters Bounced. These guys are now there. And believe it or not, the Guard put up quite a hell of a fight against an entire gun line of Minotaurs. It was
damn, man.
In the game, it went to turn 4 before we went, yeah, you're starting to take out my guys where I can't hold the objective, similar to what happened in our game turn 3. Held guard with infantry turn 4, like hanging out in the open, surviving.
So like a lot of the lore that you're speaking of right now is just from past like battles that you've actually played.
Built up over games.
This is me taking the Crusade and doing that. That's actually what I ended up doing. I did the test run with my friend who had to move away. Unfortunately, we test ran the Crusade to see if we wanted to run a Crusade League, and I have that battle in my head as the prelude for another short story I'm writing for my Space Marines.
Very cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the squats basically lost more games than they won. But the key was, I was the only person there who played pretty much every week. I won the Guardsman way. I won by appearing and just not
throwing bodies at it.
Appearing, throwing
I
bodies.
won because you stopped showing up.
I won because I appeared, I did not back down, and I tried to play it to the fullest.
Nice.
And it ended up going into if in the final game, the guy who played Minotaurs, if he didn't win that game, if he won that game, he would have won it full out. So it was very much a coin toss there. This was very much a guard. It was less of a we outdone them, we did it. It was we survived, we made our mark, and we are now officially recognized by the Imperium back in. We're no longer just some random rogue faction with stolen guard.
Their place back.
Yeah, it's been officially recognized, because you know how things can get lost so easy.
Oh yeah,
and especially with the alarmingly fast rate of various inquisitorial and higher power people being called into Charadon, especially as Typhus is landing there. There's a big motherfucker. So I play Celestial Lions. We've earned that moniker, the Orc Snipers. Yeah, it hurts. It hurts just a little bit. But yeah, so it's like basically there was a target on their back. And the idea is I have Charadon 2, and I want to continue doing the Crusade with them. I want to continue the army that I had with that build up from there, but it's like it's unfair for everyone else, especially since you get such a build up to it. It really cascades when you get to tier 3 stuff. You get there faster than you think you do, because your buffs really give you more stuff to level up. Anywho, that's a story for a different day.
Yeah.
But I really want to see if they can survive Chapter 2, if that makes sense.
That's cool. I like that a lot. So your conception is the we're licking our wounds battle was the battle that they fought against my Necron.
Yeah, your Necrons would be we need to kind of step it up and kind of get into the more durability.
Okay.
And it does actually fit in perfectly without trying to like put the round piece in the square hole of, oh, we survived like elite Imperial Fist Gene Seed gun line for 4 turns in a row, doing the objectives, holding things down, giving a pretty good fight back. And it was only like at the bottom, at the end of the match, where the dust is starting to settle, where we go, oh, maybe we kind of fucked up here.
Right.
It's a great improvement, especially for guard, where you have a 5-up save. So the main thing is they for me, they kind of have this unofficial title to them, the Defenders of Charadon, or the Repellent of the First Wave.
Cool.
I like that name.
It's cool. The Repellent of the First Wave. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like the big twist for me on that was they didn't even bring out their big guns yet. They didn't bring out all their tanks, all their artillery. They brought bare essentials, and so I was like,
no Baneblade.
No Baneblade. It's
no Baneblade.
Historically, it's the Hellhammer. I've always run it as that. So it's
nice.
They have the Hellhammer.
The Hellhammer is the plasma one, right?
No, it is the flat
Hellhammer is the stumpy one.
It's the stumpy.
It's a stumpy Baneblade.
Gotcha.
It's conventional top, not the casemate style.
Okay.
But it's got the short stumpy gun.
Yeah, it's a stumper.
And it ignores cover.
It ignores cover. It's like
just like flat, just
strength
ignores
10.
cover.
It's like strength 10, AP 3, flat 3 damage, 3d6 shots.
Yeah, it hits pretty hard. It's shorter range than a regular Beyblade, though.
I love it though. And so the main idea was, now that they've repelled the first wave, they can bring in their actual armored detachment.
Yeah,
like,
because unloading that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like instead of just one tank commander, there's 3 of them, and there's like 6 other tanks there. They have some Forge World-esque things, like, which I kind of like to think as the esoteric forgotten knowledge stuff, because Forge World historically has always been a little more powerful, a little more skewed and off center from your regular codex, which I think can fit that. A little broken or underwhelming if you look at your war boss Sunbite.
Yeah, it really depends on what it is.
Yeah, it really depends on what it is.
Okay, I didn't deserve that. But...
I can hold your hand. It's okay.
Thanks.
It's okay. Okay. We can get through this. Why are you bending Why are you bending my fingers backwards, Mark?
There's some disrespect on the other side of the table right now.
I've talked so much shit.
Don't you ever disrespect my
work. So as you bring into this sort of chapter 2, you're going to unlock the greater stores and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the goal. Because when we did the first crusade, the idea was it was quick escalation. We artificially grew. We astroturfed everyone's armies to basically be able to put more, so we can get everyone to about 1,500-ish points.
Okay,
so we can start to get everyone in our game store to 2,000 points. Let everyone start to play each other and fill it out.
Right.
I took that advantage to basically write my own little mini story.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
it's a really unique way of writing like your own lore, but like quickly.
I always kind of wished we had kept track of all our early games.
Yeah,
and like use that to build a story, even if they weren't like super hardcore on the.
I mean, we were getting there, but I mean, at the time we were also transitioning into doing like stuff like the podcast.
Yeah.
Stream.
No, I mean like way back.
Yeah, when we first
back
started.
in 8th.
Oh, you mean like before Crusade was even
before Crusade is a thing. I always wanted to like keep track of my wins and losses.
Yeah,
but like,
well, that's why I use that app, man. I can actually look at all my my losses and wins.
Oh yeah,
you have a record of them.
I should get that.
I've gained. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was all. Yeah,
I've gained this habit of when I've lost a game, I'll give like a little piece to the other player. Like I ended up playing a different guy today. I played my Thousand Sons. And we
put that shit in my hand. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, well, give me. I haven't used the restroom yet, Dave.
Okay.
So planes suck. That's all I've got to say.
So you played a
I played a friend. I played my Thousand Sons against a friend,
right.
And I was like, if I lose, I'm going to give you like my cursed Rosarius, like on top, like the chaos symbol thing. And he goes, oh okay, and then I lost. I lost pretty hard. I wasn't playing the best I could, but honestly, I was just having fun. We were just like, off. Literally, we literally had like over analyzing Avatar: The Last Airbender playing on the big TV in the background. So we were just. It was one of those like beer and pretzels type things. He was testing for more tournament lists. I was just having a good time making stupid jokes.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I lost. I just kind of went and like. broke it off. It's like bent real easy on because it was like it was already hodgepodged on there together.
I got
So it's pretty easy to take off. And I'm like, no, put this on your Caldor Drago. Like he won it. He beat my Castellan Crow, who I hope wins. That'd be fun for the custom painting competition. Shout out to that, by the way.
Oh yeah, that painting competition.
forward to
is,
that.
It's just about to end as this releases, doesn't it?
It will be. It will be. Yeah, the countdown.
The closest
about
thing
2
that we
days from
ever
now.
did to like something like that was when Billy got the shotgun from Death Watch.
Yeah.
That's what inspired me.
And then it's pretty much again when he killed Gaz and we turned him into
And we
Yarrick.
gave him the
and we
Black
gave him
Claw.
the Black Claw.
Yeah, like for my tank commander knows how the turret shielding on the front of the gun was missing.
Oh,
That accidentally broke off when I went to go play my friend for 5,000 points of guard versus Tau. Shout out to my YouTube channel, by the way, but it has the
That was
battle
that
report.
battle report you posted.
Yeah.
Nice.
When I lost it, like put this on your ghost kill because his ghost kill like tanked 3 of my tanks with demolisher cannons and multi melters
Nice.
and last
Nice.
cannons.
Ryan,
He
didn't
made-
you have a ghost kill for like a turn?
He made
I do a
20.
chimera.
He made about
Hellhound.
ooh. He made about 24 up invulns in a
Holy
row.
I want to talk to you right now, Kevin.
And that and a couple of failed charges basically made me bounce and kept me from getting kind of lock in,
right.
which is the one downside for guard. If once the shock and awe is over, if you can't stick the landing, you're done.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
But yeah, it was so that's been a thing I've done. And so it's one of those things where it's like I need to do it selectively because there's only so many bits in the world.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
But
Yeah, it's not like an every game thing. It's definitely like a game that
it's
you're
a
playing.
good games or like memorable games.
Yeah,
But
or
on-
definitely games that you play with like someone that you play with often, where you know like it's gonna have
You're gonna see it
an
again.
impact. Also,
or if you're very selfish, you're like, yeah, I recognize that little piece that was from my thing, and I see it on the stream. You're like, fuck yeah,
That
you know,
too.
like one of those things. Like, plus it's like, how many people are gonna really recognize in a sea of like guardsmen that guy has like half his gun on his hand? You know,
Right.
yeah. Like for my squats, I wrote in the lore kind of in a more tongue-in-cheek kind of haha way. The only reason they hit on 4s instead of 3s because they always have to have their melee weapon in hand ready to go. So they're always one-handing their guns. And the scions who hit on 3s are holding their regular rifles like two-handed. And the best of the scions who are trained can hold both and still hit on 3s.
So how do you scion with your squats? Do you just go with their like better trained squats?
Better trained squats. These
Okay.
are like your
veterans essentially.
These are sort of not exactly the veterans. These are like they would be like the guardians of like noble houses if we would have like that. Those were like
Okay.
So
like
if you were
your-
to bring it back to like Sigmar, they would be more like your Iron Breakers and like that kind of stuff.
well, funny you mentioned it. They're actually made from Ironbreaker AOS models.
There you go.
The only reason
Comes
I know
full circle.
all the names of all the units in Sigmar and stuff is because of Total Warhammer.
Well, there you go.
And I've played hundreds of hours
So-
of that at this point,
so-
and many of them as dwarves.
So while it's kind of vague on their hierarchy, they are very much an interesting group where they will like worship their dead and like they worship Big E in a kind of a way that the Mechanicus will actually worship Big E. They're like, he is an aspect of our God in the way we understand things. He is not like the, but he's kind of like, he's an avatar of that kind of thing.
Right.
And so like they will always like worship and honor their dead. And I'm like, that's pretty interesting. So it's like I can imagine you have like scions are almost like these honor guard where they'll like wear like masks of like famous like other like nobility and stuff like that as like an aspect of them. Kind of like how sort of like how like noblemen will have like terracotta armies and stuff like that burr with them, kind of like
Yeah.
those, but like living guard.
That's cool.
Embodying
That's
them. And those would be
That's
the
super
scions.
cool.
And that's why they wear like the ornamental black and gold rather than the standard palette of like a white, blue, gold trim.
Okay, that's
Very
cool.
cool.
I like it.
That's awesome, man.
Do squats in 40K? I haven't looked too much into them. I should look more into them because I think that's
We have to
very
look
cool.
down. They're quite short.
Yeah, I know.
Not into down.
Do they still have two gods like they do in fantasy?
They just
God.
have like one god, and it's
just
basically
one?
it's like
Okay.
your basically there's one god, and it's like your fan. It's sort of, I might be misremembering it. It's sort of like in Eastern Asian culture, to bring it back full circle to the beginning. The worship and reverence of your ancestors is very much built into them. Like your family, like my cousin died from those orcs because they reneged on the trade deal and ended up bombing our stronghold. But he's still with me. It's not like machine spirit, but it's like a comfort, you're not alone kind of thing, which builds into that the stoic I am a mountain because of the pebbles built under me kind of thing.
Right.
I stand on the shoulders of giants.
Because back in fantasy, the dwarven they have two gods. They almost have their own version of Gork and Mork.
Oh, that's actually pretty. That's pretty baller. Not gonna lie.
Grimnir and Grungi, I think, are the two.
Are they gonna say like Grootnir and Mootnir?
No, it's
Right.
like I think it's Grimnir and Grungi, and one of them is the god of smithing, and the other one is the god of war.
I
that's
love
cool.
Grungi. I love Grungi already.
Yeah,
Just by
I
the
don't
name.
remember which one's which, but I do think the name is really cool. Grungi's a really cool
That
name
is a
for
really
a god.
cool name.
Yo, shout out to all my Grungis out there.
Yeah, I know, right?
If you're the real OG, the original Grungi,
OG Longbeards.
hell yeah.
Well, cool, man. That's pretty dope. Well, you guys have any other thoughts on squats? Any other thoughts on?
They're cool. I like them.
Yeah,
Choo choo, motherfucker! Battle
Right.
train coming on
Right.
through.
you got a battle train in the works?
No.
You could go with the fact that your Hellhammer is actually part of the battle train.
It could be
It's the
one of
only
those things.
surviving piece.
You know what? I feel like if I built a Baneblade and I did it where like I did the profile where it was like if I took my Baneblade on its side and made the profile that length and build it up that way, I feel like there could be something there.
That could be cool.
That could be a battle train. Almost like how people will kit bash Baneblades and turn them into Yarick's Fortress of Arrogance, where you basically put a chapel
You put
on top of it
you
on the
take
Baneblade.
the like the gun tower that you've got, and you basically like take just the top section and bolt it to the top of a Baneblade.
And then you get Yarick's Fortress of Arrogance.
Yeah, I really want them to make rules for that. I really hope that happens.
I feel like that would be a great Forge World model.
Oh yeah, or an upgrade kit.
Oh, dude.
That would be that's so easy. Games Workshop
Upgrade kits don't exist for guard players though.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of whack.
Thanks for giving us a look into how you built your squat lore and how you build lore. I think we went a little bit long, a little bit over, which is good.
We went a little
Enjoy.
long on a very short race.
Enjoy it. Yeah, a little long and very short race. So we're going to come back to the Mad Titans Zelgeddis and the Sakaris dynasty later. But I will let you guys know that the Mad Titans Zelgeddis and the Sakaris dynasty, called the Wandering Reapers, are based on an idea that we actually spitballed last time, where what would happen if a Tomb Complex or a Necron fleet somehow got sucked into a Space Hulk. So,
Oh shit, that
yeah.
sounds.
There's a reason Zelgeddis is crazy as fuck.
He's seen
If-
some shit.
If there was like a mod for like Space Hulk where you can actually fight like just Necron warriors and like you can get into like random fights or like random scenarios where it's like, okay, the Necrons
Like
just
Pokemon, but Space Hulk.
yeah, it's like all of a sudden you have Tyranids coming here, but all of a sudden like you see like the broken like core of a monolith opened up, and instead of like a giant like a lictor or something like that, you see like a Catan shard come out, and you go, oh shit.
Shit just got real.
Shit got real.
So yeah, we'll dive into that in a future episode, probably after we cover Necron lore at this point. But thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for coming down and playing. It's fucking awesome, man. Great to meet you.
In person, in
Yeah.
We
flesh.
would like to have you back more.
Yeah,
Just weak.
definitely.
It's not a matter of if, it's always going to be a matter of when. I'm more than happy to make that win as short as I can.
Hell yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, I have one question before we close up. What other armies do you play?
Oh, Jesus Christ. So, there's a number, and it's sort of the number
And
of
it's
fingers
big-
on my
it's
hand.
bigger than
It's lots. It's 4 past lots.
man. 4 past lots.
So we're about 10 armies. I ended up building Custodes. I was like, okay,
So the list is shorter of what army you don't play.
shut up.
You should
There's what, like 14 teams? in
Give or
Warhammer
take.
now?
Give or take. Yeah. So I started with Custodes. I'll go over it real quick. I did Custodes. I was like, I don't want to build up too hard. It's like a cheap elite army. If I don't like it, I can sell it off or not be a big investment.
Fair enough.
Then lockdown happened the day after I clicked buy. So at this point, we're at a lot of free time, a lot of disposable income, and a new hobby that I never go half measures. I go neck deep into things that sound interesting to me. So then I built 3 Space Marine chapters back to back. I did an Imperial Fist successor for Celestial Alliance for my second army. I built Salamanders that were also double as my Alpha Legion. So we're now into 3, technically 4, because I did make separate chaos-specific units for them. Then we did Lamenters for my Blood Angel successor. I built Necrons because I remember falling in love with them originally when I was a teenager walking to my first Games Workshop. I'm like, why is the Terminator walking around with like a glowing anti-material rifle? And the guy goes, oh no, it's like an anti-matter rifle, as in it will eradicate your matter.
And you were like, I fuck with that.
I was like, that's cool. And it goes, oh yeah, not only are they like nigh indestructible, they just like come back to life. They come back to life. Yeah, you just can't kill them. No. So I'm like, I was just like, wow. I was like, yeah, it's like Jack Nicholson doing the that one.
Yes.
And then I bought like 1,000 points of like vintage like Dark Angels, like OG, like
Oh, that's cool.
like
Metal.
small metal
awesome.
and like small scale like Predator with the round top and the little like barrier thing. Yeah,
That's
like
super awesome,
I
man.
don't think I've seen that one.
and I ended up painting another 1,000 points of that. Ended up selling it to my friend who just moved to Korea, so he's going to be
Nice.
kicking ass with that. Then I wanted to build some knights to soup into, so we're on number 6, I believe. Yes, number 6.
That's why I bought a knight, and then they made knights cost CP.
So
And
I have
I'm sad.
I have 3 knights in the wings. I have a third one that's going to be built soon. It was a project for my lady and I, but you know how life is. I built one knight Castellan because Big Daka.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
big Dakabot.
And I got another knight with a bunch of equipment I can shift on it. I made it so it could be Chaos and Loyalist. I call it Knight Farius, and it shows it mid transformation. It's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
That's cool.
I like it.
And so that was like 6, technically 7. You can argue there. Then
Is it like 2 completely different paint jobs?
It's 2 completely different paint jobs, even on the underhull. So it's like the silver. So it's black with the silver for like the Alpha Legion side, and then it's like kind of a warm rusted, like rust, kind of like copper
warm
for the Imperium side. Yeah,
warm and cold.
yeah. Then it's like
That's cool.
gold and
Very cool.
blue. So yeah.
Nice.
And then I did. I built Sisters. It was originally my fiance's project, but I kind of helped wrap it up. She doesn't like the building as much, but she enjoys the lore and playing it a little bit.
Very cool.
Build about 2,000 points of that. That puts us around 8. Then I built 1,000 Suns. And that was basically 13 months into the hobby. I built 9 full armies at that point.
It is ridiculous.
And then built and painted my Necron army.
Then I built and painted your Necron army.
So 10.
So there's 10 if you want to say it. And then I'm currently building Tyranids. I'm doing a big kaiju monster Tyranids. I actually got it printed by Ryan here. A Hierophant, Harry the Hierophant. I have an idea for it roughly. The Tyranids are on like a swamp planet, and it's like there's a kid with like a kind of a psychic link, but he doesn't really know what it is because it's Hodunk, and it's because they kind of like to feed on that kind of psychic stuff. Like they go for what is it? It's like the Astronomicon.
Shadow in the Warp.
Yeah, they feed on that stuff. They've kind of linked with him.
Oh,
So they now have names. They go, I understand. I am Harry the Hierophant. Like it's like kids' names. It's like Winnie the Pooh and stuff. Like it's alliteration. There's
like the hive mind psychic.
Because there's Terry the Trigon.
Yes, that's what caused it. Terry the Trigon. I'm like, that sounds awesome. There's Harry the Hierophant. There's going to be Timmy the Tyrannifex. There's going to be Derek the Death Sleeper. Stuff like that.
Nice.
So it's like they all kind of take on this kid's like.
Kathy the Carnifex.
Kind of like personality of like how kids make up names for things.
Yeah, and then they'll make those little stories and all that stuff. And
That's
it's
cool.
Gerald, the Gene Stealer.
Gerald
the Gene Stealer.
So yeah,
Very
there's
awesome,
stuff like that.
Billy
And
the Broodlord.
Billy the Ruler. Oh God. Sammy the Swarm Lord.
Tina the Termagant.
There you go. Like I was actually go Dina the Dimacarian.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hector the Harpy.
There you go. Hector the Harpy. Hector the Harridan. The small units, like I'm gonna run like some smaller units because you have to for like slot and stuff.
Right.
They're gonna be like extras in that kind of sense. They don't have names, but it's like they'd be like a group name or something like that.
That's pretty cool, man.
Oh yeah, you could come up with like
Cool.
a name for like a group of them.
Yeah.
That's dope. any hobby update stuff?
I got a quick thing.
Yeah.
I just finished up a tournament that one of the people in our Discord run, Marshall. He runs a little small tournament down in Southern California.
Did you cheat?
What's that?
Did you cheat?
I cheated my
You
way
make
to
up
the
rules
top,
all the
baby.
way to
I
the top.
cheated
Man,
my way to
there
the
you
top.
go. That's my man. Give me dap. Give me dap. There we
To
go.
the top. Took orcs.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
If you ain't cheating, you're playing in the North American tournament.
I had to borrow 2 orc planes or jets from Marshall
Okay.
that were unpainted. So I actually
How
borrowed them and
dare
painted
you.
them for him. So
Oh.
that was my last hobby kind of deal.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've been working on your Tyranids, yeah?
Yes, I just did the I did a base coat and or I didn't do the base coat. I did the basic highlight Zenithal Prime for my Hierophant. I ended up getting its chitin and its meat done because it's the Halloween time for it. I wanted to do Halloween colors, orange and purple. Orange is my favorite color anyways.
Nice.
And apparently I historically have painted with the worst colors to do in the hobby, white and yellow already, so might as well go with the other one, orange. It's like, and I've mastered those things. Thank you very fucking much.
And how can we find your stuff? Go ahead and plug yourself. At the,
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, that's definitely a good audio level right there. It's like I've been rather NPR this entire time, and now I'm like, ah, that's a fine deal, Billy Mace. No, but so you can find me in several ways. Instagram, you can find me as Ickbard, or it's Peninsula Miniature Painting at gmail.com.
and it's at Ickbard.
At Ickbard or at Peninsula Miniature Painting for Instagram.
Cool.
You can find Ickbard on YouTube. Trying to be good on getting some like battle reports, not exactly like the super big stuff like you guys do, more like the guerrilla handycam stuff.
Very cool.
Showing up as Ickbard for me.
Oh, nice.
At Ickbard.
Oh, I wonder who that is.
Yeah, well, who's that fat piece of shit?
Hey man, that fat piece of shit curved his back like that when I asked him to. He knows how to work for his dollar.
It's a picture of me.
No,
No.
it was that
It's
one.
me.
It's when he was leaning
it's
over,
me.
setting up the
Got
vector
you,
markers.
got
I'm
you,
like-
got you.
like-
I was like, damn, you
I was like-
motherfuckers are being harsh as shit. I'm
No,
right
no,
here.
no,
I can
I'm
turn
just-
off the
I'm
entire
just being-
soundboard.
I'm just being realistic. That's not your most flattering picture.
No. But here's the
I'm
thing.
the fat
I
piece
asked him. I went to him and go, "Hey, Mark, can you just lean a little lower onto the table?" And it was just like, "Yeah, like that." I'm like, "Yeah, like that."
Let me see.
I am a
Let me see.
fat piece of shit. So it's
That's
fine.
a good picture. I like that picture.
Yeah, you should see the
Just
video.
the angle.
I'll be in my bunk.
But yeah, those are the different places you
Can I
can
borrow
you can
that?
catch me. You could also look up Ickbard on Fiverr. I do audio, and I record things as a funny space marine or like a Slaneshi demon. So if
Do
you want
some voice acting stuff.
I do some voice acting stuff. I do.
Very cool.
I've been able to do impressions ever since I was a youngin, and I might as well take it to the advantage.
There you go. There you go. What about you? You got any hobby
I ain't
progress
done
update?
shit.
You ain't done shit.
We
Actually,
ain't found
although-
shit.
Although I will say that in a proper step towards my hobby progress resuming, I have now managed to secure myself back to a Monday through Friday schedule.
Oh, there you go.
So
Dope.
that leaves my weekends properly open again.
There you go. That's awesome.
And I don't have to spend because my old schedule was Sunday through Thursday. I would come down here for Friday, which left me a single day.
right,
do anything.
right. Rest of
Hobby
my
stream
life.
win.
I know, right? And that's literally like the last time I was painting was on the hobby stream. What,
Yeah.
4 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you,
Okay.
Ryan? What you got cooking?
So you guys saw tonight, and for those of you listening to the podcast now, about 2 weeks ago, the crystal cluster that was in the center of the table,
Yeah,
I painted that up this week.
it looks beautiful, by the way.
Really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like those crystals.
It
Those
was
are cool.
a base prime coat of gray, and then I used the recipe that you used on the bases,
All right,
basically.
You definitely did it better than I did. I'll give you that for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, like you elevated the application of the recipe that I had. I looked and go, damn, that's better than what I did. What the fuck?
I did the Bellacore blue contrast. What is it? It's not Bellacore.
Leviathan
Is it Leviathan blue?
blue. Yeah.
Yeah, I did the Leviathan blue contrast paint. I did 2 coats.
Oh, you did my updated recipe, not the turquoise ink. Yeah.
And then I did the Blood Angels contrast. I did 1 coat coming from the 2 coats overall, 1 coat coming from the top, which is very specific.
Yeah.
And I tried to focus only on the crystals.
Yeah.
Then I did a second coat of Blood Angel from the top, but this time I coated everything. And then I did a final Leviathan, and then I dry brushed with Telcor Aqua or whatever it's called, Telcor Blue.
Yeah, I wish I figured out that second setup for the other bases. I feel like that darker blue really makes it pop better.
Yeah, it gives it a cooler. I mean, as far as like terrain, it gives it a cooler. And I also like that piece of terrain looks super monochromatic. Like if we were to do a whole board,
I dig
give a very, very creep vibe to it. So that was what I did this week. Otherwise, I have been packing. So when you guys hear this, I will be in the state of Iowa.
Poor
I am
bitch.
moving. However, the podcast is going to continue. These guys are going to continue to do streaming, and you guys will probably see a little bit more hobby streaming stuff from me as soon as I've got my setup done there. But I already have, as of the day we're recording this, I actually already have audio equipment in my house in Iowa sitting on a table. It's just not set up yet.
And Ickbard will be replacing Ryan. No.
Fuck, do I have to get all the
On stream.
tattoos?
What's
Do I
that?
have to get as many tattoos?
Yeah,
as
oh,
I-
yeah.
Yeah.
One
they-
tattoo for every army you play.
He's got one of a star.
I want
On his
to get
butt.
buried in a nice Jewish cemetery, you asshole. No.
Not anymore.
Nice Jewish cemetery. I'm not even Jewish. I just know it's a nice
Okay.
looking
I was gonna
cemetery.
say my stepmom's Jewish, which means I'm Jewish. I
That's
don't know
how it works,
I don't
sure.
know how it works.
My brother's
It's
an
the
astronaut.
It's the mate. It's,
Bullshit.
Oh, that's how you're an astronaut.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, it's the matriarch.
Just
family.
because you choke
Dress
each
me
other out
as
and you
my
see
brothers.
stars does not make you a fucking
There you go.
astronaut. Okay?
That's not that.
All right,
That's
guys.
how it works.
Well, if
I
you
should know. I'm an astronaut.
if you God damn it. If you enjoyed this episode and you enjoy squats or you have your own squat lore, please reach out to us at either jimdarkgaming@gmail.com or under the Hive of Madness @gmail.com. You can also send us questions that you may have for Ickbard. We can reach out to him through our community, or you can email questions about either getting commission paints done, or I'm sure email him questions about his lore as well.
Important thing is I do advertise first and foremost. You do get battle ready armies done in a very short amount of time. I painted a little over 2,000-ish points
Yeah, it's
in about 10 days
Yeah,
for you, and it came out pretty good.
yep,
That is fantastic work for a 10-day turnaround
it's amazing. I fucking love that.
with an
Army,
injury.
man.
With an
Yeah,
injury.
with an injury.
Golf clap.
Yeah. So one of the best ways to get in touch with all of us, including Ickbard, is to join our growing Discord community. We do a lot of stuff over there, including working on our Hive lore. So those of you that listen to the podcast will know that we do little bumpers at the beginning and the end that has something to do with the theme of the podcast, or the theme of being some Vox casters that run around and run a pirate Vox cast radio station, Chemrat Radio. You can help us actually write some of that stuff if you join us on Discord. We have a project called the Hive Project. We announce different things that we do every couple of months just to kind of kickstart the creativity and get some more lore written. We also, with our production meetings and other things, come up with our own little tidbits of lore. And then obviously we've got our bumpers at the beginning and end that we like to tease out. Little one-liners, just sort of poke interest at where we may or may not be going. The other thing that you can do through our Discord is join in the conversation on things like tactics, lore, how to write your own lore. And then we have a painting contest that is run through the Discord. However, to be part of the painting contest, you either have to be a subscriber to us via Twitch. You can find us at twitch.tv/jimdark_gaming. We normally stream. So we start our stream around 6 to 6:30 p.m. PST. And we go for several hours. It's usually about 6:30 to 10 on Friday nights.
Another thing is we had a fantastic stream between our games. And the Twitch VOD will be on there, still up for around this point. But if you want to see more games like this where we have more guests like me come on, the more you throw into donating onto the Patreon, the more this is likely to happen. And I'd love to come back as soon as I can. And if you guys did that, that would mean the world to me.
Yeah.
Thank you
That'd be
very much,
cool.
man. Yeah, another way to help us out is to check out our Patreon. You can also get involved in the painting contest if you are a Patreon member, Patreon subscriber. That is at patreon.com/Under the Hive of Madness. We have a couple of different things that we're starting to roll out where you've got some swag as far as some stickers that we're going to try to send out, or that we are going to send out, a couple times a year, several times a year. We're not really sure how it's going to work out, but different stickers or other little pieces of swag that we come up with that we think will be pretty cool for you guys to have. I know you like the sticker?
I'm going to use mine as pasties.
You're going to use yours as pasties. There you go.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. I think they look really good.
That is a
I love
War Boss
really
approved use.
There you go.
Yeah, right on that.
Some people use
right on
boob
that
squids.
boob
I just
squid.
use pasties.
The other thing that we're doing, or the other thing that's rolling out, or probably is already rolled out by the time this episode drops, is there are some PDF files there if you're at a $9 level, and you can download those PDF files and then go to your favorite printer to get your own objective markers printed. We use 3D6 Wargaming, but you don't have to. Yeah, there's some other stuff that we're definitely doing there, so please check that out. It helps us on our roadmap for improving our shows, and it helps us on a roadmap for improving the equipment that we use. If you want to find us on the wilds of the internet, check out our Linktree, which is Linktree/Under the Hive. Ick, if you want to drop your information one more time for the folks at home.
Peninsula miniature painting.
Peninsula.
Peninsula. It's Peninsula miniature painting. Yeah.
I got Sean Connery.
But I do name my dreadnoughts after dead celebrities. My big redemptor is Sean Connery, and the new one I just made was Norm McDreadnought.
Oh,
Yeah. It's my heart. But
that's awesome, and I'm also sad.
yeah, my friend's gonna name his hell brutes after famous serial killers.
Nice.
Yeah, his first one's Charles Manson. It's awesome. But yeah, Peninsula miniature painting. You can get a battle ready army for your tournaments. There's always a new codex, a new chase. You're gonna get that army painted the way you want. Within, I've been able to actually do this. I've painted it faster than it's taken to ship back sometimes for an army.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
You could also find me
Awesome.
at Ickbard. Anything that's Ickbard, ICKBARD.
There you
You'll
go.
probably be able to find me and be able to contact me that way as well. It's a pretty unique name.
Well, that'll wrap it up tonight on this Pirate Voxcast from 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio. We've been enjoying these extra cushy seats that don't chew on you at all here at the Glacial Marauders Arena, watching the Marauders just wipe the floor with some of the other teams. I'll tell you guys, this extra equipment these upper hivers can afford definitely seems to provide a little bit of an edge down there in the playfield.
Their greatest weapon is bribing the referee.
That actually
it's
makes quite a
quite
bit of
effective.
sense. Yeah. No matter how silly it looks, remember to continue to walk through those bulkhead doors backwards, just in case a four-armed emperor might be trying to spy you through one of them reflective surfaces. That's it from us here at Chemrat Radio. We will see you all next time. Same rat channel, but probably nowhere near the same ratty place.
Spay and neuter your ratlings.
Later.